The G20 just happened in Johannesburg and it was a massive success in spite of Donald Trump trying to derail it. But most South Africans like myself have no idea what G20 is. I thought it was a club for Gayton Mackenzie fans, the Gayton 20. I thought it's what happens when you ask for service delivery. Gee, 20 years until you get that. So today I'm explaining the G20 and how much South Africa won this thing that none of us knew about. Welcome to another episode of Real Problem with Chester Missing, where you get to watch a ball of latex on the internet. My friends, G20 was created because back in the late 90s, there was a financial crash in Asia. Woohoo! And that had ripple effects around the world, and 20 of the most industrialized countries got together and they tried to fix it. I'm not sure when they're going to get done fixing it, but South Africa was invited to the group, and a lot of people have been asking me, but Chester, where in the 20? Where in the 20 is South Africa? We are number 38 out of 20. I'm joking. It's a joke. God, don't catch feelings. Herman Mashab is going to be in here smacking me in my little latex face after that one. Listen, guys. In spite of our smaller size relative to, say, India, China, or Germany's economies, we're actually a very important member of the G20 because we do express many of the hurdles that are specific to the African continent. Besides, there's a word for having a party and not inviting black people, and the word is racist. Each year, a country takes G20 leadership, and for the last year, it was South Africa's turn, allowing us to push an African interest, such as, reframing debt, healthcare, that kind of stuff, trying to get MoFi out there as an actual energy drink that people care about. It's all about Africa. So while it is also just a meeting of rich assholes, because it's definitely that, and most South Africans would rather have 20 rand than a G20, it was a chance for the global South to remind those bastards in the global north that we also deserve equality. We deserve as much chances for success as they had. We didn't create climate change ourselves, but we carry the costs. Look at the flooding in KZN right now. When it comes to climate change, they farted and we're being blamed for the smell. Bastards. Also, as Africans, we often undersell our relevance to the world, don't we? Because racist bastards have for centuries been selling the lie that we are less developed because somehow Africa is less capable or competent. And they won't admit that it's Africa's disadvantages are hugely shaped by how the West stole African wealth. They're privileged because of our disadvantage, and they've undermined African leadership to turn themselves into the first world economies that they are today. It's like we've been hijacked, and now the hijacker is judging us for not having a car. You sneaky scumbags. So here's how it works. The truth is that Africa is a massive market with over 1 billion people in it, most of whom are young. And the Japanese and Germans have all stopped pumping each other. Oh yeah, Visho Tata. I don't know what Who's Your Daddy is in German. And their populations are shrinking, which means over the next few years, my friends, Africa will be by far the largest growing market. And we have innovation no one else will think of because they don't face the hurdles that we face. There's no Germans having to survive off one tap in Diepsloot. Africa is the future. Elon Musk, for example, is trying to bring his internet company, Starlink, to Africa because he knows. It's not like he misses home. He knows that there are more people who need the internet in Bulawayo than there are on Mars. Even a racist like Elon knows that. Futsak, you funny-shaped head bastard. I think that's why he's trying to go to Mars. His head looks like that where he's originally from. That's why this first G20 on African soil was so important, because it fought for the interest of Africans, specifically on issues such as debt. The West got rich by stealing everyone else's wealth. It was the seed capital for what they have today. But they get super tense if you bring it up. The British keep actual artworks they stole from Africa and Asia in a big museum in London, and then they charge you money to see your own shit. How insane is that? Imagine having to pay money to see stuff that was stolen from you. Okay, we have that. It's called cash converters. The level of this is more than most people understand. For example, during colonialism, the UK stole $45 trillion from India. Overall, mostly, over 200 years or so. $45 trillion, guys. That is like 17 times the UK's GDP. GDP is how much a country earns in a year. Like everyone working, it's how much they earn. In other words, if the entire United Kingdom stopped working for 17 years, that's how much they stole from India. The thieving bastards. So India raised a little white kid that wasn't theirs called England. They did a reverse Angelina Jolie. Foot sack. And that is just the wealth they stole from India. Never mind the transatlantic slave trade, the wealth from Africa, from the Americas. So today, the life expectancy in the UK is 82, and in India and Africa, it's far, far less. This is literally a matter of life and death. Don't forget that British colonizer, Cecil John Rhodes, literally planned to turn black South Africans into hewers of wood and bearers of water. The poverty we see today in South Africa was planned. It was strategic to make cheap labor for mines, which is the building block of the white-owned South African economy. So no wonder the West doesn't like talking about this. You know that time you forced the world into poverty so you could pay for national health service in the UK, and they're like, shut up, go look, there's Simon Cowell on a reality show. Today, Africa has to borrow that stolen wealth back from the World Bank and International Monetary Fund with interest, which is like having someone hijack your car and then making you pay for the frickin' Uber rides. Half of sub-Saharan Africa pays more in debt than we do in actual things we need, like healthcare. People are literally dying over this shit, so it's about time we had this meeting. They've been dodging our calls for ages, those sneaky footsack bastards. Don't get me wrong, G20 agreements are like a wedding proposal. They're non-binding. Ladies, until that Kabeja signs, it's not official. Make sure he signs. So the fact is that if Africa wins, the whole world wins. And unless it's a World Cup, then it's just us. And this G20 thing was just one step towards that. This is where America comes in. You see, Donald Trump, that racist, rabid knick-knack, has spent his time in office trying to elevate the United States from being a powerful player to being the global super bully. Well, more of a bully than they were before. Where the rest of us has to bow and scrape and pay tariffs and say, yes, boss, that don't really make sense. What are you doing, America? How do you steal a country from brown people and then tell brown people they're no longer welcome here? See, over the last few years, with the rise of social media apps and a younger generation, many of whom want a world where we can deal with the injustices that are so obvious, where colonialism that was done to their ancestors, or that my ancestors actually did, is happening in real time in Palestine, in Gaza, and we're going, no, f*** you, footsack, not in our name. The people with power are, for the first time in history, having to think at all about how unjust the global economy is. Do you realize that when the British ended slavery, they paid the slave owners reparations, not the actual slaves? And the families who got that wealth still have it. It's freaking wild, guys. It's insane. This is why G20 is so important. G20 is multilateralism. That's what they call it. Multilateralism sounds like something you do in the gym, but it's where countries negotiate a global understanding as equals. Whether you're rich or poor, big or small, you get to have a say. It's not a heal-all, but it's a start. And this is the first time it happened on African soil where ideas like Ubuntu could be forced onto the table. Because Donald Trump, that orange asshole, does not like equality. So he boycotted Africa's G20. Like when you tell your racist uncle your black friend is coming over and he changes his plans. Trump says he's worried about an imaginary white genocide in South Africa. Which is insane, because he also met the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who had a journalist cut into pieces, apparently, and dissolved the dude in acid. So Trump cares about human rights like Kanye West cares about looking crazy. Donald Trump is against anything that demands justice for people of color, women, or the global south. He hates everything that's DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion. So Ramaphosa achieved with the G20 something that was in some ways a realignment of the global political order. Just a tiny one. Because the entire G20, except Argentina, who are also famous for hiding Nazis and taking billions of rands from Donald Trump, supported South Africa's proposal. Argentina is just a Spanish word that means Donald Trump's bitches. It was effectively a clear footsack to Trump when everyone agreed to our declarations, and his bullying bullshit was kicked aside. We literally laughed in his face, and judging by his popularity ratings, Americans are laughing too. You see, while South Africa may be poor, our president, for all his faults, did generate his legacy out of actual apartheid, negotiating with real racists, with actual Nelson Mandela guiding him. Donald Trump, that privileged, petulant pestule, didn't stand a frickin' chance, because when it comes to negotiating on a global stage, Ramaphosa is Trevor Noah and Donald Trump is a frickin' circus clown. We are a country with 12 official languages and are as divided as it gets. We know how to connect with people who are not like us. It's our superpower. Then Trump tried to send an American representation at the last minute because he had severe FOMO. He sent what they call a charge d'affaires. That's a French, a charge d'affaires. It's like a dude who comes with a I don't know what he's got, charge d'affaires. It's like a low-level diplomat. But Ramaphosa said, no, foot sec charge d'affaires. It sounds dirty, doesn't it? Like, hey, charge d'affaires, mi hada. Ramaphosa said, foot sec charge d'affaires, you pervert. The president must hand it to another president or a high-level official, so go charge d'affaires yourself, you weirdo, creepy, pedophile, sex maniac, who's in the Epstein files, definitely in there. He even said South Africa will not be bullied, which is an amazing moment because I thought Ramaphosa had his backbone removed years ago.
We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice in defense of our national interests, our sovereignty, and our constitutional democracy.
South Africans, we can be proud of how we did at G20, and Ramaphosa and his team did make us look good. Well done for 5 seconds. But let's be honest, G20 was about equality, and South Africa is still one of the most unequal places on earth. Our unemployment levels are way, way higher than any other G20 nation. Us telling anyone how to fix equality is like Helen Ziller giving lessons on how to be likable. It's frickin' ridiculous. On the bright side, this week we learned that Mayor Dada Morero, Joburg Mayor, can deliver services. Suddenly the city was clean. Potholes were fixed. Next time you don't have running water, tell the city of Johannesburg the G20 is coming to your house tomorrow night and they will be there immediately. We're also watching our police system fall apart under Ramaphosa's watch. This whole brown Mahotsi running around accusing everyone of being a CIA agent. It's bananas. This entire country is falling apart. We can be certain in the next 6 months we're going to find out that someone in the ANC got a tender to supply cupcakes to the G20, and we're going to find it's probably going to be a company called Cupcakes for Cupcake or some cuck like that. Remember, guys, that at Marikana, 34 miners were shot down in 2012 for protesting for a better pay from a British-owned platinum mine called Lonmin, and the BEE partner of that exact British-owned mine is the same Ramaphosa who's claiming to be fighting for equality with the colonizing powers at the G20. It's insane. It's like Gwere Mantashe offering diet courses. Foot sec, you lying bastard. G20 has thrown the Ramaphosa presidency a line and been a small win for South Africa. But the fact remains, our economy is struggling. Our president lacks the will to tackle corruption amongst his own comrades. It's insane. We don't even have a credible way of fixing the economy, and our GNU is fine with being in on the deal. Literally, Steenhuisen ordering more takeaways than he can carry in his own car. His main takeaway is actual takeaways. Nando's is bringing down the GNU, and MK is too busy sending South Africans to fight in Russia to focus on being an actual frickin' opposition. Did you see that story? Dudu Zuma told some MK comrades they've got to learn to be bodyguards in Russia. What is that where you got to be a bodyguard? This makes no sense. Can't you go to Klerksdorp? They have training there. And suddenly those guys are on the front line in Ukraine. What happened? Were they like, hey, do you want to fight white people? And they're like, yeah, okay, let's go fight them on another continent. It doesn't make any sense. The good news is President Ramaphosa has finally declared gender-based violence a national disaster. But he's done it before, so we've got to keep our eyes on him, because he's a sneaky scoundrel bastard, kaberga, that cupcake, and he makes promises like a bridge in Cape Town. They often go nowhere. On the bright side, my friends, only in South Africa do you get to watch a puppet explain how politics works. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment saying how sexy my shiskop in the comment section is. Thank you, guys. Okay, bye, and futzak!